Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining, and I apologize for a slight delay. So yeah, we're ready to start. And to start with, let me introduce myself. My name is ARINA. I'm the head of partnerships at Social Links. Together today with me is Ivan, our Osint expert and analyst. And from ARINA's side, we have Lucas, who is the product manager of Osint tools and digital forensics tools. Lucas, let's start from ARINA introduction. ARINA, like not me, but the company, and then I will take a word to introduce Social Links and our solutions.
All right, yeah, thank you very much. It's my pleasure today to welcome you to this webinar, and I'm happy to announce that we, as ARINA, the company, teamed up with Social Links to offer our customers an even broader range of Osint tools with Social Links. So if you have any questions regarding Social Links after this webinar, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach us as usual at service@arina.ch. I will also paste the email address to the chat. And with that said, I would like to hand it back to you, ARINA, and looking forward to the webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Lucas. Okay, let's start then. Few words about Social Links. So Social Links is a global open source intelligence tool developer based in the US with more than 60 employees on board. We own the market since 2015. And since that time, we empower investigators and security professionals to achieve their objectives every day with the help of our solutions. Here you can see Social Link's global market penetration. And one of the biggest market for us is Europe with about 250 customers. And Germany, Austria, and Switzerland take a big share of this market, being one of the key markets for Social Link so far. So our customers come from the law enforcement, military and defense, government organizations, as well as the corporate companies, corporate organizations, from finance sector, from insurance, banking sector, and many others. So what do? Our products assemble massive volumes of data from different open sources, such as social medias, messengers, blockchain, dark web, to analyze and visualize a holistic picture for data-driven investigations, significantly speeding up the process. So basically our solutions speeding up the process, saving vast amounts of time and making your investigations and your life much easier. So our product portfolio consists of 3 tools, which are SL Professional, SL API, and SL Private Platform. SL Professional, that's a SaaS solution. That's an all-in-one Osint solution covering all those open sources that I've mentioned at the very beginning. And this is a plugin, an add-on on 2 platforms, on 2 visualizing platforms, Maltigo and i2 Analyst Notebook Premium or EA. So the second one is the SL API, and all the search methods, all the data sources available in SL Professional can be integrated via SL API. And the third tool is SL Private Platform, which is an enterprise-grade on-premise Osint platform with customization options, private data storage, and the widest range of search methods that can be tailored according to the customer's demands. So today we are focusing on our flagship product, the SaaS solution, SL Professional. And Ivan further will be showing a demo on Maltigo using SL Professional. So SL Professional covers the full cycle of investigation process, starting from the first step of data extraction, getting the live data from over 500 data sources. Then goes the data analysis step, and at which Social Links with more than 1,000 billion search methods make sure that the data that is retrieved is accurate and correct. Then goes the third step of data visualization, and this step is covered either by Maltigo or i2. So all the data that was retrieved before from all those different sources is visualized inside Maltigo or i2 interface. And in the final 4th step of data application, all those information, all those data can be exported in a form of detailed reports for reintegration and cross-checking. So you can start investigation with any tiny piece of data. That could be an email, a phone number, an IP address, a company or an individual name, an alias, crypto wallet address, or geolocation. So here you can see the sources, the data sources that we work with, and they are here grouped into several groups. The first one is socials, different social medias like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, Tinder, and many others. We also cover messengers like WhatsApp, Telegram, Skype, and Discord. We gather the data from darknet forums and marketplaces, from the corporate sources, such as Companies House, Open Corporates, OCCRP, offshores. We also have access to Sanctions Explorer, whether you can check if the company or individual is in some sanctions list. With integration with BitQuery, we give access to senders, wallets, destinations of different cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Zcash, Cardano, Litecoin, and others. And the last source is SL Identity Search Engine, SLISE, which basically is kind of a Google across more than 10 terabytes of internet data lakes. It gives the access to emails, aliases, names, and phone numbers, being the only source for the historical data. So all the rest data, except SLISE, is real-time data. So it's out there in the internet in the moment of search. We do not store it, so we collect it real-time. So speaking about the data visualization, as I've mentioned, it could be visualized inside Maltigo or a A2 interface. Here you can see Maltigo interface, and in Maltigo, the data can be visualized in the form of a graph. In I2, in addition to graph, you can also display the data on a map, on a bar chart, a histogram, on a timeline. And of course, both Maltigo and I2 has the option of generating reports. A few words about some AI technologies that we have in social links. One of the coolest features is facial recognition, and that's an ML model that allows to locate an individual across different social medias by his face and other parameters like face and name, or face and alias, face and location. And it's basically a facial recognition which identifies whether it's the same person on the given picture and on the social media profile picture. Then we have object detection. That's an image recognition algorithm that identifies particular objects on the images, such as weapons, cars, flags, masks, and etc. So imagine you have 5,000 pictures, and with one click, only the pictures with guns will be retrieved. And then we have a special option for the law enforcement, that's DNA profiling. And that's an engine which mines DNA data banks to establish genealogical links using the subject biological identifiers as an input data. And we have the beta version of deepfake detection. That's an algorithm for determining whether the given video content is authentic or if it was created using deepfake. So speaking about the use cases, of course, there are many different use cases, but today I will highlight the most frequent use cases for different types of customers. And for law enforcement, mainly that would be money laundering cases, fraud and theft, human and arms trafficking, organized crime cases. For government and military, that would be fake news, propaganda and misinformation, sentiment analysis and riot control, and counterterrorism. For cybersecurity and corporate security, that would be threat intelligence, data leak detection, social engineering, different cases on due diligence, background checks, contractor checks. So basically, that's clear that social links should make your life easier. So we take care of the data management, of the data relevance and data verification. We make your work covered, so you don't need to log in any accounts. You don't even need to have any accounts in the social medias or darknet forums. So all the work that you do within social links is 100% anonymous. And forecasting helps to make decisions preemptively. even before the incident occurred. So it's clear that open source intelligence is now an integral part of investigations in almost every industry. And when it comes to data, Osint and basically social links enters the chat. And now Ivan will demonstrate to you how actually social links works on several use cases. And I'm giving a word to Ivan.
Yes, Arina, thank you very much. So good day, everyone. Welcome to our today's webinar. Very glad to see you here. We will go through a number of examples with different kinds of input data that are possible within our solution. In the first one, we will focus on the instance where we're interested in a specific person, and we start our search from a name. And of course, this is just for the sake of illustration. And an input can also be a phone number, an email address, a username, or an IP address. So for instance, here we have a name of an individual and we have their account within Xing. The first thing that it would make sense for us to do is to run a cross search using facial recognition for the presence of the individual within various other platforms. So we'll choose Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And we will also extract the general details from the Xing profile. What we see so far is the location, which can also be seen in the property fields of this entity here. So we can see Switzerland, male, Zurich, employee of Siemens Schweiz AG, head of digital products and services with a count of contacts of 90. We also see an account within Twitter and within LinkedIn. Whenever we use facial recognition to identify a social media account, we get a probability rate, which is in this case 98%, because this is the same photograph, but usually anywhere upwards from 70%, such as in this case as well, is most likely the correct result. So now we will further extract the details from those profiles. And also we will get the accounts that are interacting with them and their content and the content that they have interacted with. The principles of working with various social media accounts are quite similar within our solution. That goes for the mainstream social media platforms, such as two of the ones that you can see here. The more niche ones in terms of their regionality, such as Xing, and the more specific ones in terms of their purpose, such as GitHub, Discord, Telegram, or Steam. So now further, we have those posts. And from the posts, we can extract all of the interactions that other users may have had with that. So the commenters, the comments, and the reactions. The end purpose for that might be to build a comprehensive social graph of an individual within the context of a specific platform. So not just getting the friends, followers, and followees within Facebook or any other platform, but getting the map of interactions between users, a weighted map of interactions. So who have they interacted with and in what context, what is the depth and the specifics of that particular social connection. Which can be utilized when we're investigating a particular individual or when we are looking to ascertain or disprove a connection between several people or even several groups of people. Yes, meanwhile, while those transforms are running, I see one question about the social media accounts. No, there isn't a need to register anything on the user side. And yes, there is a trial version potentially available. And I see another question about whether we work with government entities in the Netherlands. Yes, thank you very much for that opinion about the usefulness. So we work with government entities in many different countries in the European Union. And that may include the Benelux countries as well. So here we see various different entities, including the LinkedIn comments, which is another point for further deepening the research about the person. So we can take all of those comments and from each of those also get the author, likers, repliers, and replies, which will give us a more clear picture within a specific social graph. For those of you who haven't been familiar with Maltigo before, it's also possible to apply various additional methods of visualization within a chosen graph. For instance, to sort the entities a certain way, either by diversity of descent, total amount of links, just incoming or outgoing connections, rank, or weight. And it's also possible to go into the list view to visualize everything in the form of a table with the capability to sort those entities by the amount of incoming or outgoing links as well. So this is an example of visualizing a graph of an individual social set within a specific platform. Now we will also try with different examples within the domain of working with individual digital identifiers. So we can start with an email address. And here we will try to see what kind of social media presence is connected to it. So for which accounts it was used to register them. And another source that we have that ARINA has previously mentioned that can be quite useful in this context specifically is the social links identity search engine. So we will launch several queries into that now. So far from the email, we see the fact of accounts existing within 16 various platforms and services. We see the accounts themselves within MySpace, LinkedIn, Gravatar, and GitHub. We see a phone number mask, so the last 2 digits. We see 2 IP addresses and a number of records from the identity search engine, from which we will now make an extraction, the result of which will depend on the contents of the properties of those specific entities. Now, while network objects are not our main focus, we do have integrations with 2 IoT search engines and also data providers such as WhoisXML, Zoomai, and Security Trails. So we can extract some additional data from those as well, such as the general details about those, which may include the net block, the ASN, the city and country. Another set of features that we have for law enforcement specifically is the social links Telegram pack, which we will demonstrate briefly now. And we will start with an example where we go from a username. And yes, we will also show where we can find accounts based on just the username as well. So here we have an account within Telegram. And in some instances, depending on the coverage within a specific region, we can get additional details from that, such as the user's groups, their historical photos and aliases, and in some instances, their phone number, even if it wasn't disclosed by the account's owner. And from the groups themselves, we can also get their members, current and historical admins and owners, and the locations, as in a country, of the members of those communities. Now, we will go through another use case where we want to get data about a certain company, a certain organizational entity. We will start with the company name, and we can create First, we will run a search into Open Corporates, one of the corporate registries available to us. The other several being OCCRP, Offshore Leaks, the British Companies House, and Sanctions Explorer. And from each of those corporate entities, we can extract the general details about them. If we start from a keyword, then we can utilize another additional data provider that we have available for searching for data related to a specific entity within the dark web space, which isn't limited to just the Tor network, but also covers I2P, Freenet, and ZeroNet. And we can also search within the sources, the methods for which are proprietary. So the major forums and marketplaces within the Tor network. And also run queries into AMIA and Onion search engines. Those are the search engines that are quite similar in the way they work to conventional ones that just cover the dark web space. Now, here we see a number of product positions within marketplaces from which we can extract the vendor and the locations where they are shipped to and from. And we have a number of forum posts from which we can extract the users and the threads. And additionally, we can run searches into DarkCal, which we have mentioned just now as well. This may include discussions on dark web forums and also leaked databases that may contain credentials of employees or other kind of compromising confidential data. Here we have an example of utilizing sources such as OCCRP, Aleph, and Sanctions Explorer when starting initially from a name. Yes, and another source that we're using here is Offshore Leaks. This, especially combined with further deepening it with the use of our social media functionality, can help the analyst build a comprehensive picture within the process of due diligence or a background check of an individual. All of the transforms that we have been using so far, except for facial recognition, have been used for gathering data. The second category of methods that we have available, it could be said that they're more used for processing that data. So for instance, here we have a number of images. And from those, we can run searches to see whether there are cars or guns present on them, and also potentially extract EXIF data. To answer the question that I see in the chat, feel free to test it on mine. I do wonder how accurate these transforms are when targets have their profiles set to private. Of course, the solution that we have won't give 100% result in 100% of cases. There isn't an Osint solution that, well, that I know of at least, that can say that about themselves. But we do have a pretty wide spectrum of sources available and a large variety of methods of working for those sources. So in the majority of cases, there will be at least some digital breadcrumbs that it's possible to further pivot from. So now here we can add a path between those two entities to get just the ones that have both of those categories of objects within them. Delete everything else off the graph. And here we can use another capability of working with imagery, which is a very simple yet sometimes quite a useful method to reverse image search. Then we have a number of URLs, and we can further run a transform to identify whether any of those belong to the social media platforms that we can further work with the use of our standard methods. In the process of developing our solution and deepening its functionality and talking to our customers and our partners and listening to the industry, we have developed a number of methodologies that can be applicable to this category of product. So those of our customers that have been with us for a long time know about those already. We'll just highlight those briefly. The first one that is customary to all of the industries from which our customers come from is the visualization of a digital footprint of the individual, which combines working based on the digital identifiers, pivoting into social media, and researching the target within those specific platforms, and using custom search methods within conventional search engines. All of that to get a comprehensive picture about an individual and a conclusion about who is this before us. Another one is the all-round digital exposure assessment of an organization, and the exposure in terms of their social infrastructure, the data publicly available from open registries, the social media activity near the physical objects related to it, such as production or office buildings, the public sentiments towards an organization, and the network footprinting. Another one about which we've started talking about recently is the attribution of cryptocurrency addresses. So the part that we can cover here is the passive intelligence with Osint segment, of course, the methods to follow the money, which is possible with cryptocurrency, as the data on the blockchain is publicly accessible, but by definition, although that is not yet at the moment as possible within Monero and Zcash, at least within what I'm aware of, and the initial inner data that the analyst may have. Here we have a graph of addresses with mostly a second and third degree relation to each other, about which it can be said with certainty that they belong to specific groups, specific actors, some of those to militant extremist groups, some of those to dark web vendors, some of those to ransomware groups, and some of those to legitimate exchanges. And the analysts can go into the details about the transactional graph, or well, in parallel, they can run searches for notable mentions of a specific address within various reports, existing investigations, and social media conversations, and also dark web content as well, and further correlate the potential findings, even if they're of second, third degree of relation, to the data from the transactional graph. So now I believe it would be time for a brief Q&A session. I see there are some questions here. Yes, if someone has their LinkedIn profile set to private, can we still find all this information on their profile using these transforms? No. So in the sense that will we be able to see the LinkedIn data specifically? No, we won't be able to see as much, but we will still have potentially an image, a name, or a username, or 2 or 3 out of those. And maybe if we're talking about a real world scenario, some additional inner data. So based on that, we can, it wouldn't be necessary to limit our searches to LinkedIn. It's quite often that an individual has a profile set to private on one platform and has a publicly available account on another. And that is, if we're talking about just the social media, there is still the part with corporate registries, the part with news articles, old records, database records, and so on. What hardware are you using to run these transforms? I reckon it can be quite slow if you use it on lower tier PCs. So actually there, I wouldn't say that there is a specifically high requirement on the hardware part. So the machine that I'm using right now, I don't think it could be called a lower tier PC, but it's not an exceptionally powerful machine. So just an average good computer will do in terms of hardware. Can this also work on the Dutch version of the UK Companies House? No, at the moment we don't have that plugged in, but we do recognize, as with many other sources, of course, its importance, and we may potentially implement that source in the future if it fits into the logic of our roadmap. Could we elaborate on the sentiment entity? By sentiment, I mean that a solution such as ours could also potentially be used to assess the tone of voice within a certain social media platform towards an individual, especially if they are public, towards an organization, towards a certain event, or any kind of phenomena in general. Is it possible to map out suspended accounts in Twitter? But out of it, we work with within social media is gathered real time. So if an account has been suspended and is no longer publicly available, then we won't be able to see it. We will be able to see, for instance, within Facebook, if we're checking for the existence of a profile based on a phone number or an email, that the account has been suspended. Yes, to answer the question that I see just now, yes, I believe so. You can contact us at hello@sociallinks.io. Just specify your query and we'll be glad to talk to you. So yes, please tell us if there would be any additional further questions for today. Okay, great, thank you. Thank you very much.
I think there's one more question we missed out on from Susanne, if there's a list of which explaining the symbols you're using. So I guess she's referring to the entities on Maltego.
Oh,
so
yes, certainly. So the entities that we're using are listed in the palette on the left side. So they have different categories of properties within them and different kinds of transforms applicable to them. Some entities can be used universally within within the stack of several vendors at once. Some entities can also be vendor specific, and the user can create their own as well. And some of those can just be quite useful for modeling the logical picture within an investigation. So I hope that answered your question.
Okay, so I believe there are no more questions here. Ivan, thank you so much for the demonstration, and Johannes, Lucas, thanks for joining. And let me repeat again that ARINA, being a new partner of Social Links, is taking care of the German, Austrian, and the Swiss market. So please feel free to reach out to them for the personal demos, for the trials, and further assistance.
Yeah, let me finish up with just also like a big thank you to you guys, to Ivan and ARINA specifically for hosting today's webinar. I guess we can all agree on it was very insightful to see the tool working, presented by Ivan. You're certainly an expert on using the tool. So for everyone who's just started out working with Maltego or Social Links, there's definitely a learning curve involved, but we'll get to it as soon as possible, for sure.
Yeah,
so exactly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.